Welcome back to another episode, another week, another episode. You know how this thing goes. My camera is crooked. To another episode of Who Cares Anyway? You know how this goes. We do this every week. It's a podcast where I give you my sports opinions. If you agree with me, cool. If you don't, cool. At the end of the day, who cares anyway? Um, before I get fully into this episode, I wanna take a moment to pay my respects to Jacoby Jones and Jacoby Jones's family. Well, I don't know him personally, obviously, but I am a football fan. All of you know that. And Jacoby Jones played football during a time that was where I was glued to the television every week, and he was one of those players that uh, was electrifying every time he touched the ball. Um, and he was must see TV. And uh, you just I pray that his family is holding up well and that they're being uplifted by their support system, and that that they're able to grieve this loss in a way that is uh in a way that is healing for them. Um, but yeah, I just want to just I don't even at this point. I don't have words. It's tragic. It's always tragic to see uh to see someone so involved in a sport that you watch lose their life. Um, and there are plenty of moments I could think of that bring me back to Jacoby Jones, but you always have the kick return in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. That's like the big moment, right? In 2012. Yeah, I think it was 2012. Um, I could be wrong on that. I don't know why I'm thinking I'm between 2012 and 2014, and I don't know why I'm between those 2 years. But either way, y'all know what Super Bowl I'm talking about. Um,
Lombardi, who's the new general manager of the Cleveland Browns. It was Joe Banner and Lombardi, actually, who brought John Harbaugh out of Indiana University to the Eagles. And later on, it was Lombardi bringing him out to the Raiders. Jim Harbaugh, that is. And this could be a run back from 9 deep for Jacoby Jones. And look at him go. Jones is past the 50, and he is flying inside the 20, and a kickoff return, 109 yards and a touchdown, an all-time record. There have been 108-yard returns in league history, never 109, and what a way to bolt right out of the locker room to start the second half.
Jim, both you and I could not believe he was bringing it out of the end zone that deep. It was a line drive kick. I think that's what he did. He gauged it that it was that way. That gave him a chance.
his iconic Chopper City Juke touchdown celebration. Like I remember as a kid, me and my friends trying to mimic that and do it on our own, or seeing it being done in Madden whenever you scored a touchdown. It's something that was etched into memory. So like I said, I just want to pay my respects to Jacoby Jones. Um, it's a tragic loss. Uh, and not to understate that or like brush that off to the side. But I wanted to put that before everything else because life's too short, you know, and losing someone, whether you knew them personally or not, but seeing someone deal with loss or seeing somebody that was involved in something that you were interested in or somebody involved in your community, any kind of loss in any kind of manner and in any kind of magnitude is hard, it never sits well. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out to get that off my chest before we really got into the episode. Um, but on a lighter note, um, the MLB All-Star game just happened about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago now. All-Star weekend, it was a great time to watch. I'm sure it was a great time to be down in Texas and be in Arlington for the festivities. Um, and the home run derby, I feel kicked it off right. Um, there were a lot of surprises that came out of the home run derby. Um, chief among them, I feel, especially being a Mets fan, Pete Alonso had such an un-Pete Alonso-like performance. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was the new format that threw him off a little bit. I don't know what was going on, but he did not look like Pete Alonso. He finished the night with 12 home runs and was nowhere near the semifinal. Um, rough night, rough night for Pete Alonso. But on the flip side, there were a couple guys that, especially young guys, that really came out and had really had great performances. Alec Boehm being one of them. And again, I'm a Mets fan. I do not like the Phillies at all. But Alec Boehm had a performance. He had a night. He set the pace really to start the night with 21 home runs in the first round. And I remember when I was watching it, they were kind of like the analysts, the commentators, and even himself, like him and I forget who he had pitching to him, but him and his pitcher, quote unquote, and his Phillies teammates were kind of talking about it, the performance after that round, and they were like, it's not terrible. And I sat there and I said, 21 homers is not bad at all to start off the night. Like I was really and I was right in saying this. I would have been shocked to see anyone get over 21. Um, and 21 was the benchmark, and no, I don't think anyone got over 21 in the first round, and it was definitely a performance to watch. But he moved on. He moves on to the semifinals. He goes against Teoscar Hernandez, who we'll get to in a second. Um, yeah, it's in the semifinal against Teoscar Hernandez. They end up going to a swing off that Teoscar wins, but even that, like that was the joy. That was fun to watch. It was entertainment all night long. Um, uh, on I don't want to say on the other side because it technically wasn't split AL NL. It was kind of I don't think it was. Anyway, um, Bobby Witt Jr. had an impressive night too. Made a run all the way into the final and ended up losing. He technically 2 homers short, but was literally like 10 feet away from pushing it to a swing off against Teoscar Hernandez. Um, but again, a really impressive night from Bobby Wood Jr. He kind of stalled out towards the end, but it was fun to watch. And then Teoscar Hernandez. Teoscar Hernandez goes out, becomes the first Dodger in history in home run derby history to win the event. Um, like I mentioned earlier, the swing off against Alec Bohm, and that was a joy to watch. You had the whole him and Vladdy Guerrero, that kind of like side story with Vladdy wearing Teoscar's Blue Jays jersey down on the field, and giving Teoscar a little pep talk, and where to be looking to hit the ball, and it was great. It was great. Great storylines. Teoscar Hernandez goes on and beats out Bobby Witt for the title trophy neck. You know what I'm trying to say. It was Home Run Derby was a fun night. It really was a fun night to watch. And a lot of good hitting, a lot of good hitting. Um, some other guys that really jumped out off the page. Jose Ramirez. He didn't. It wasn't the numbers, but there were a few homers off of his bat that were you're like, oh, okay, okay. Um, who else? Um, oh, did I mention that Teoscar Hernandez hit one 454? I think to dead center in the final. I think it was dead center. I could be wrong on that, but it was 454 regardless. It- yeah, like wow. When I tell you there was a lot of power in that. Obviously, it's the home run derby, but it was fun to watch. It was definitely fun to watch. Um, but moving on to the All Star game, uh, and I didn't watch the whole thing. Towards the end, I kind of was like, okay. There was a wild ending to it, surprisingly. But let's start it off with where it started. Paul Skeens, the rookie phenom from the Pirates. He came out, had a great performance. Ended up giving up the walk to Soto, but that was just so that Skeens could face off against Aaron Judge. And then gets a one pitch ground out from Judge, and he came right at him. It was impressive. Skeens showed no fear, and I mean, when you're battling a guy like Aaron Judge, you can't show fear. Because if you show fear, it's like shark smelling blood in the water, and he's gonna capitalize off the fear. But Skeens came out and had a good performance in the first inning, and then that gave way to Shohei Ohtani slapping a 400 footer to right center to start off the scoring for the NL, and I talk about power. For those of you who don't know, right, Shohei Ohtani is a generational two-way player, and this is not me using just throwing that word around. This dude is generational. Um, and for the Dodgers right now, and he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. So, which Tommy John surgery usually is had among pitchers. Certain like you'll see position players get it from time to time if they're hard throwers, like Bryce Harper got Tommy John a couple years ago. All Tommy John is a surgery that is done in your elbow to repair a ligament. I believe it's your UCL. Um, to repair a ligament in the elbow that usually becomes stressed and oftentimes does tear from throwing hard. So Otani's coming off of Tommy John surgery, and I'm not even gonna talk about his stats because his stats this year are crazy for somebody coming off of Tommy John surgery. But to come out and slap us, I don't even think it was like I think it was maybe middle in. It was a middle in splitter that he took 400 feet. Like I literally sat there and was like, that's some power. Like that's power right there. And I don't say this lightly, but I think that Shohei Ohtani could possibly be the greatest baseball player ever when it's all said and done. Like there's a possibility that's a thing, right? Just because of what he does as a hitter is already like the power he possesses as a hitter, and it's not even just power. It's he has speed to him, a little bit of speed to him too. He can steal bags, but it's also the uh it's also um the dominance he shows as a pitcher, right? And to go out there when healthy and be able to play both ways and have neither side slack is just yeah, it's very possible that he could be the best baseball player ever when it's all said and done. Um, but yeah, it was a sight to watch. It was a sight to see, and I'm sure being in Globe Life during that moment was probably amazing. Um, but alas, it didn't lead to a win for the NL. The AL ends up coming back. Get 2 runs off of a Juan Soto double, and then to finish it off, Jaron Duran comes in, hits a 2-run homer, and that finished it off. Like I said, that's the wild ending. I didn't watch that far, but it is pretty good Midsummer Classic. Some great pitching outings. You had Steens to start off the game. Um, you also had Shota Imanaga come in for the NL and have a pretty good inning from the Cubs. Max Fried from the Braves also had good inning on the NL side. And then you had Tarek Skubal who came in for the Guardians. Came in from the Guardians. Really, and Skubal is a name that I've been hearing thrown around in that sphere of dominant pitchers and pitchers that are highly sought after right now as we near towards the trade deadline. And he really showed it in his 1 inning. Like it may have only been 1 inning, but he really did show why he's so heavily sought after. And this is why I feel like the All Star game, the MLB All Star game, is such a great experience for fans because it really does open your eyes to players that you hear about throughout the season, but you never really get the chance to watch. And I feel like Tarek Skubal is one of those guys. Playing in Cleveland, they don't get a whole lot of they don't really get a whole lot of national air. And if you're not from the area or if you're not a Guardians fan, you're really not paying attention to them. But you do hear of some of the names of those players that are having good seasons this year, and Skubal is one of them. As I believe the Guardians are first in the AL Central. I think, yeah, I think so. Um, Future me will put it somewhere on the screen, and it'll correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but also another pitcher that really stood out. The last ever Oakland A's All-Star, Mason Miller, came out, had a great outing. Struck out Otani in 4 pitches, one at bat removed from hitting a 400-foot home run. Um, but then also went on to strike out Trey Turner on the fastest pitch thrown in All-Star game history at 103.6 miles an hour. Uh, and that for a first off a rookie, right? That coming from a rookie, but also coming from a guy who is the last in the line of the Oakland A's legacy when it comes to All-Star games is that's got to be monumental, right? Um, so that in and of itself was great to see. And then there was a couple of mic'd up moments that the broadcast did. Um, I, Fox, yeah, it was Fox. I don't know why I just blanked on who was airing the All Star game. It was Fox. But they had a couple of conversations with they had a conversation with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, and that was cool to listen into. Their chemistry is great. Um, you can really see that they enjoy playing with each other. Um, and then there was a mic'd up session with uh the three Phillies infielders that started off the game. Bryce Harper at first, Bohm at second, and Trey Turner at short. And it was again another scenario where you can really see the chemistry. You can see that these guys enjoy playing with each other, um, and just kind of great to hear them talk about. It's not great that they are the best team in the majors. It's not great, but it was great to hear them talk about what it's like and what's different. Um, and then Trey Turner comes up with a great play while he's mic'd up, and it was just great to watch. Great, just great baseball. You know, I'm a fan of middle infielders, and I anytime I do MLB the show and do my road to the show, I always make a shortstop because to me, middle infielders always have the prettiest plays. Like it's always like watching poetry in motion when you watch really good middle infield play. And so just watching Trey Turner make that play while mic'd up, his mind's obviously on the play in front of him, but he's got to kind of multitask a little bit, and just being able to watch him watch great middle infield play is always a joy to me. But yeah, they really hit it out of the park, no pun intended. Uh, Hit it out of the park with the mic'd up segments that they did. Um, and all in all, I think the All Star game was a real success this year. Um, I think fans have been kind of like iffy on it over the last couple of years. I hadn't watched the All Star game in a minute, let alone the home run derby either. Um, but I think that definitely this was a real success, and I'm excited to see what the second half of the season looks like. Um, there are a lot of playoff races going on right now, both divisionally and wild card. Um, you kind of want to see if guys who were hot during the first half continue their hot streaks in the second half, and I'm interested to see who picks up and gets hot going down the stretch and trying to make playoff runs. Or I'm also interested to see what kind of trades are made as we close in on trade deadline. So the second half of the season is going to be an interesting one to watch, and I'm excited for it. I'm also really excited for October baseball, for September baseball, for fall baseball. The playoffs are not around the corner, but they're closing in, and I'm really excited to see how it shakes out. Um, Switching gears a little bit, uh, how do I intro this? Um, if you follow the podcast on Instagram, um, you may have seen a post that was posted. I want to say like a month ago now. By the way, go follow the podcast on Instagram. It's gonna be worth your time. Go follow the podcast on Instagram. Thank you. Um, but there was a post on Instagram that I posted maybe like a month ago now. Uh, talking about the NBA's rights deal and the how Warner Brothers and the NBA couldn't come to an agreement on their rights deal, and with Warner Brothers, the parent company of Turner, and Turner being the parent company of TNT, um, that would mean that TNT is no longer a part of the if the what am I trying to say? If Warner Brothers doesn't come to a deal with the NBA and they don't, come to terms, that would mean that TNT is no longer on the broadcasting schedule for the NBA and can no longer broadcast NBA games, which in turn means that inside the NBA would be gone. Um, and I think I speak for a lot of NBA fans that it would be a tragedy to see TNT lose the rights to the NBA, simply because there hasn't been a pre slash post game show like inside the NBA in any other sport, and even in the NBA, like there's nothing has come close to it. The run that inside the NBA has been on has been historic. Um, I believe also Emmy award winning. Um, and this is you watch this broadcast, and this is a group of guys in Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Chuck. That's just entertainment, oozing entertainment. Like you. I don't think I've ever seen a group of guys be this entertaining, this effortlessly. They don't even try. It's just them being them. Um, the closest I've seen to it in terms of broadcast, sports broadcast, um, would be the Mets broadcast booth. Uh, Gary, Keith, and Ron, the SNY crew. If you're a Mets fan, you know exactly who I'm talking about. These guys are hilarious. They provide great insight on the game, and these guys are Mets through and through. And it's always great to hear them call games because they bring a passion for not only the game but a passion for the Mets. Uh, that's unrivaled by anyone in I believe anyone in the majors. But when you look at inside the NBA, this is a crew that like Gary, Keith, and Ron, they provide such passion for the sport of basketball and for everything that goes on inside in it, um, on the court, both on the court and off the court. And these are four guys that, like I said, have a great chemistry together, and they're just entertainment. Every Thursday night is just entertaining. They don't even try. This is just them being them and who they are personality wise. And it's great to watch. And even now, like with the Tuesday night crew that TNT has assembled, with Jamal Crawford, Vince Carter, Adam Lefko, Candace Parker, and Shaq. It's even that is entertaining to watch. It's a little bit of a different uh um it's a little bit of a different vibe, right? from inside the NBA, but you can still see that there's some of that uh, atmosphere that is still remnant in that studio. Um, and I just think TNT does a great job of putting together not only entertaining crews, but crews with great chemistry that really and the chemistry that really shows on air. Um, and I think if TNT were to lose the rights, like I said, I think we'd be in trouble as basketball fans in terms of entertainment value, right? Because obviously we can still watch the games. The games are going to be the games, but you know, how often do you turn on a game before a game starts to watch the pregame show, or stay after a game ends to watch the postgame show? Not very often. So if TNT were to lose the rights, I think it would hurt. It would hurt the fans more than it would hurt anyone else. But I say all of that to say that Warner Brothers is matching Amazon's deal for the NBA rights. Um, Amazon, along with NBC and Disney, put together rights deals. I believe all 11-year rights deals, put together 11-year rights deals for the NBA. The NBA Board of Governors approved uh, all three deals, all three collectively being worth $76 billion. And the NBA gave uh, Warner Brothers the ability to match one of the three deals, and Warner Brothers decided to match Amazon's deal, which is worth 1.8 billion a year. Um, I think that this was done because I feel like Amazon was kind of the easiest of the three to match. You're there's no way Disney is gonna let go of that rights deal. It'd be hard to match because Disney is Disney. Disney owns pretty much everything and anything they want to own because they have the money to. Um, NBC, I feel would have been also difficult to kind of match just because NBC is kind of in the same boat as Disney, just not as big and spanning as Disney is, but NBC is a conglomerate in its own right, so it'd be kind of hard for Warner Brothers to match that. Um, it wouldn't be impossible. It wouldn't be as improbable as matching Disney would be, but I just feel like I said, I think Amazon probably the easier of the three to match. And also, if Warner Brothers Warner Brothers matching Amazon's deal tells me that Warner Brothers values their fans because of two things. Warner Brothers wants to keep inside, even though I believe it was CEO of Warner Brothers said that they don't need the NBA to operate or to survive, and that's fine. That's cool. You don't need the NBA, whatever. But your fans need the NBA, and if Amazon were to get a rights deal with the NBA, that would mean that there would be Thursday night NBA games that would be exclusively streamed on Prime Video, which would mean that you would have to pay for an Amazon Prime subscription or 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 find other means to watch games. Don't tell nobody I said that. Um, you would have to pay for an Amazon Prime subscription and watch games on Amazon Prime. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know nobody that's really trying to like. Obviously, Amazon Prime has a bunch of different uh benefits to it, the shipping on the Amazon regular Amazon side with the shipping and Amazon Prime Video with all the movies and other series and all that stuff. But if you just want to watch basketball, to go out and get an Amazon Prime subscription is a little much. So especially when you look at TNT, ABC, ESPN, which is Disney, and NBC, all three of those outlets, yes, they have streaming platforms, especially NBC with uh, Peacock and Disney with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. Um, you can still watch those channels with a cable subscription, right? And if you have a cable subscription, it's not free, but you can watch those things wherever you want without an extra payout, right? So having Amazon, I don't know why my camera. I feel like my camera looks slow, but it might not be. I don't know. We'll see. Having Amazon have a rights deal with the NBA. I feel like that. Sorry, I'm whatever. We'll leave it. Having Amazon get a rights deal with the NBA, I feel, and the rights deal they have with the NFL right now, I feel is detrimental to the fans. You have to, in order to watch Thursday night games, you'd have to get an Amazon Prime subscription. And it just kind of feels like we're like these broadcast companies and these streaming outlets are asking viewers to go back to cable essentially because at this point we're at a point where we're uh we have all these different streaming platforms that are being paid for just to do the same thing we were using cable for. You know what I mean? Like you have the Hulus, the Disney Plus, the Netflix, the Prime Videos, the Peacock, the Paramount Plus, the did I say Disney Plus? You throw that in there if I didn't say that. So on and so forth, just to which is essentially what we were doing with cable, where you had multiple channels and you would flip through the channels. Well, now you got multiple streaming platforms and you're flipping through streaming platforms. You could throw Max in there for formerly known as HBO Max, but Max. I don't like the fact that they renamed it like that, but whatever. Um, but it's just it really does feel like we're just going back to cable just with added steps and extra money being put out. But I digress. In terms of the deals are set to start for the 25-26 season, the 2025-2026 season, so next season, not this coming season. Um, and they would include games being streamed, nationally streamed or televised every night during the second half of the season. Considering the fact that Amazon has, like I said, the NFL rights deal and they air Thursday Night Football. And how that would work for Prime Video is that they would stream Thursday games nationally after the final Thursday Night Football game of the NFL season that year. So, um, like I said, I think it'd be rough on fans to have to not only lose a staple, the staple that is inside the NBA, but to also force fans to kind of to be into streaming platforms and having that be the only way you can watch those games. If you know, you know. It, um, but I think even and I've said this before. I think the direction that the NFL or that well, really the NFL because they're the only other league that's doing this, right? The MLB has stuck true to Turner, right? They stuck true to Turner Sports with TBS and TNT. They've also stuck true with Fox and uh, ESPN, right? They stayed true with that, and the only streaming platform that I think MLB games air on is Apple TV Plus, which is here is kind of neither here nor there, right? It's not that big of a deal, and there's really only one game out of the week, right? But with the NBA and you look at the NFL, right? Especially the NFL, if you want to watch a Thursday night game, it's like first off, you only get if you take out bye weeks, right? You're only getting about maybe 12 games a week or something like that, somewhere in that ballpark, right? And you have your Monday night game, right, on that airs on ESPN. You have your Sunday night game on NBC, a channel that you can turn to on your cable box, both of those being. And then you have your Thursday night game, and sometimes it's two, but usually it's one. And the only way you can watch it is Prime Video, unless you do something else. But the only way you can watch it is Prime Video, and if you don't have Prime Video, then then you're not watching Thursday night football that week or ever. And it kind of sucks because there are some of the best games do happen on Thursday night. Some of the first off, it starts your football week. Second, it really does. I feel like Thursday night football is a good way to uh highlight players that don't get really shine on Sundays or Monday night, or they're always you know these great Thursday night moments that happen, and with them happening on Prime Video now, how many people can really watch? So, but I think if the NBA trends in the direction of the NFL, a lot of fans are going to be upset, not just because they're losing inside the NBA, but because the NBA is forcing them to go and pay for streaming services that they didn't have before because they didn't want to or have a need to just to watch basketball. So I think uh I don't know. I think if Warner Brothers and the NBA can come to a settlement and they can agree on terms, then I think it's going to be to the benefit of the fans, and all is going to be right in the basketball world, right? If not, like I said, it'll be a huge detriment to fans. We'll be losing out on something that's been entertaining for the last 30 years, and uh, I think it's going to cause fans to kind of I don't want to say stop watching games, but it's going to cause fans to kind of reevaluate their stance with the NBA, right? Just a little bit. Um, but that being said, that's all I got. I wanted to talk about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese because that discussion has been getting real weird on social media. But I feel like that's a conversation that's been talked about and over talked about at this point. Everybody's talking about it. Uh, I've already kind of given my piece on what the Rookie of the Year race looks like and how who I think is going to win Rookie of the Year. I just think that the way fans have been talking about the two of them has been really weird on social medias, and yeah, honestly, I think the way social media handles the WNBA as a whole It's kind of weird, but I feel like that's a topic for another time. Um, but I'm done. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next week. And remember, who cares anyway?